So now I've talked about the genres in the Old Testament. Now I guess I have to go over the genres in the New Testament, if I have to. I guess it's what should happen at this point. So the New Testament starts with narrative, just like the Old Testament. Notably, the narrative section does not cover much of the New Testament, unlike how it does in the Old Testament. It contains the 4 Gospels and Acts. The Gospels are a slightly different form of narrative in the style of a theological biography. They tell the story of the earthly life of Jesus, but each of them have their own emphases. Then the book of Acts picks up when Jesus ascends with a promise of returning and tells the story of the early church, starting with the disciples and spreading further and further out geographically, ending with the Apostle Paul in Rome. After the initial narrative, the Bible introduces the reader to a new genre, epistle. Epistle is an old term for letter. These letters comprise the rest of the New Testament up to Revelation. Most of them are from Paul. The epistles were passed around among the Christians, copied and circulated more, so much until they became core parts of the faith. They were to help churches or church leaders as they struggled with various problems. Keep in mind that these problems were specific to the intended audience. Not everything can be immediately applied to life today. Though the church contends with similar issues like sexual immorality, greed, false teachings, the manifestations of those issues differ and require analysis to relate to our time. Think back to the genre of law and how that worked. Some laws are easily transposed, like do not murder. Others are more difficult, like wearing clothes made of wool and linen. There are truths to glean from both laws, but the second takes more research and analysis to understand. In the same way, some directives from the epistles are easy to apply, and some take more work. The last genre is apocalyptic. Apocalyptic can be described as a type of prophetic literature. The reason I and many others distinguish it from the rest of prophetic literature is because of its unique characteristics, including an emphasis on foretelling future events and its cryptic wording that can seem more puzzling than helpful. One of the main focuses of apocalyptic is describing the day of the Lord, in which there will be judgment and reconciliation. God will make everything right again, which includes enacting justice for sin. When talking about apocalyptic, we usually think of Revelation. The Old Testament contains an apocalyptic book as well, in Daniel, but for our purposes, I'm just going to briefly talk about Revelation, since that's what everyone's probably familiar with. Revelation comes from the Greek word apokalypsis, from which we get the name of the genre, and it means to reveal or to lay bare. An apocalypse did not originally mean an ultimate destruction, but rather a clarifying. As a type of prophecy, it mainly concerns itself with warning the church about sinful practices, whether it is currently sinning and needs to stop, or whether it will face the temptation to sin and needs to remain faithful. The reason for this is that Jesus is coming back and the church needs to be ready. Not in a Y2K we're all gonna die, throw granny in the bunker kind of way. More like a thank God we can finally start this party kind of a way. It gave Christians back then, and it still does today, a reason to remain hopeful, be patient and joyful, and endure suffering, temptation, and persecution. So this concludes the overview of genre. Again, the New Testament contains narrative, specifically the narration of Jesus' life and the early church. Then there are epistles or letters to guide the early church and its leaders through specific situations, and apocalyptic, encouraging God's people to remain faithful by making clear their future hope.